Fern stitch, also called fern leaf stitch, is made from a series of straight stitches in groups of 3. And it's really not that difficult to change from doing right to left-handed directions, but I want to show it with both. Now you've got choices about how to mark it. You can just mark a straight line. It curves easily, but of course you can do a straight or a curved line. So you can do just a plain line, a line with a few dots, or you can mark all the branches that you want to stitch on. I tend to do it more like this. So I like to put what I call the pivot points for the groups. So the first thing you want to do is you come up on the line and you're going to stitch. I'm going to stab stitch at first. I'm going to stitch heading away from me. So that's going to be the top of my group of stitches. And I should say that I'm working with a size 8 pearl cotton. This is a chenille needle. You can also use an embroidery needle. Now I come back up again right at that same place. So that's why I call it the pivot point. And I just stab it down right where I want it. You can see the nice thing about this is that it's simple to learn because it's just straight stitches. And you can have control. It's good to, if you're kind of a beginning stitcher, this is one where you can draw it out for yourself and you can work on your accuracy. And so if you're stitching it left-handed, it's the same exact thing. You just come up at the pivot, you stitch down again, and notice how the only way the groups are connected is you just decide when to stop and how many groups. No single stitch is connected to the previous stitch. And so here I come up again. Usually when you see this illustrated for left-handed stitchers, they show you go off to this side first. I'm not sure it makes a tremendous amount of difference, but you know, do it whichever. If it's easier for you as a lefty to go top and then right and then left, by all means do it that way. I especially like to use this with a variegated thread. You know, it's just a really good simple way to create the effect of a little fern. You can do it closer together. You can use this in little scenes, you know, to like with this, just something very simple. You can use it with a piece that has only embroidery, or you can add it to something like a piece of applique. Now, another option for this is you can do it with a sewing motion. I happen to have an embroidery needle this time, but it's going to be the same thing. If I wanted to, I could stitch it, you know, by a sewing motion. I mean something you'd use for, you know, making a ham or something. You can stitch it just as easily like this, but I find I just really like the control and the crispness that I get with the first way I showed it to you. Let's see, then here you just come out kind of flat to the fabric to get to the next stitch. And it just gives a little subtle difference in how it looks. I think these just pop up a little more crisply. And I want to take a quick look also just to mention, this looks very similar to fly stitch, but fly stitch is a loop stitch where this leg or this stem of it is actually coming on a loop, so it's connected to these pieces of the stitch, and just this is a separate straight stitch. And this is, so that's fly stitch and that's fern stitch. So it's two different ways to get to a very similar look.